On November 13th, 2018, the Dynasty Warriors were geared up in a slugfest with the Los Angeles Clippers. This was Golden State at its full power, with prime KD, Clay, Dre, Curry, and even Boogie Cousins, the overlords of the NBA, the unstoppable force in basketball, the most unfair super team of all time, the peak of the late 2010 sport. This, though, was the night where it would all come crashing down. Tied at 106 with under 5 seconds left, Draymond, who had amassed a grand total of 6 points, decided that he wanted to be the guy and tried to turn into a superhero for the Warriors, and tried to grab the rebound and look for a shot himself, with Kevin Durant on the basketball court. This possession ended miserably, obviously, and on the sideline it spurred into an intense argument between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. This argument between the two created a deep fracture in the relationship of Kevin Durant and the Warriors, a fracture that eroded the base of their dynamic, and despite them easily winning 2 rings in their time together, ruling over the NBA with a strong iron fist, and being virtually unstoppable, led to Kevin Durant leaving the Warriors and dismantling that team. That Warriors team was the most unfair team ever assembled. It was an easy ring for them every single season. With 4 all-star players, 3 all-league players, and 2 top 5 players, teams were going into the season knowing that there was nothing they could do against them, knowing that they'd get dominated by them, and knowing that they didn't have the firepower to keep up. The Warriors were so good that they ruined basketball, and the free ring was willingly abandoned by Kevin Durant due to a very bad argument between him and Draymond, spurred by one bad possession at the end of the game, one dumb decision at the end of regulation, one stripped ball by... Wait. Is that who I think it is? Look at the name at the back of that jersey. Look at who is there. Because on the other side of the basketball court, a rookie, baby-faced Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with an embarrassing high top went up against the peak Dynasty Warriors and not only led the Clippers to a victory, but made the play that saved the National Basketball Association. Since that moment, SGA has proven to be an anchor being for the NBA. Things have come full circle for him, as he and the Oklahoma City Thunder, just like the Warriors dynasty he helped destroy, are en route to dominating the NBA. Yeah, we're talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander today. A pretty consistent theme in Shai's early life was him being an underdog. He was born in Ontario, Toronto in 1998 to a family of athletes. His mother, Charmaine Gilgeous, was an Olympic sprinter for Antigua and Barbuda, and his dad was a skilled Toronto basketball player in his youth. This athletic background laid the foundation for Shai to turn into the elite player he is today. He was skinny and unathletic in his youth, being slightly overlooked by recruiters. He wasn't from a basketball factory in Ontario. He wasn't a can't-miss prospect out the gate. His ascension in his youth was slow and gradual, exactly like his NBA career. The reason seeing SGA in that play against the Warriors is so jarring is because that guy is completely different than the one we know today. Different team, different player, different hairstyle. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has one of the most insane transformations in NBA history, and after dethroning the previous dynasty, has turned himself into the ruler of the new one. But despite being the underdog, the unprecedented growth, and the dethroning of the past villains of the league, he is still one of the most hated players in the NBA. Why is that? Hatred or hate is an intense negative emotional response towards people, things, or ideas, usually related to opposition or revulsion towards something. Hatred is often associated with an intense feeling of anger, contempt, and disgust. Scientists describe hate as a threat-based neural state in which emotional processing systems dominate while cognitive regulation and flexibility are reduced. And in sports, we see this a lot. Rivalries, cocky bastards, pretty boys, hot commodities. The sports world is the perfect place for league-wide hatred and discontent to stew. LeBron was preordained the chosen one, glazed perpetually, and betrayed his hometown city. Kevin Durant ruined the NBA by assembling the most unfair team in sports history to amass the hatred of the entire NBA fanbase. And Tom Brady has a long list of cheating scandals, along with too many wins that caused widespread disgust towards him. SGA is trashed on for foul baiting? What? The art of foul baiting is one that consists of timing, leverage, anticipation. It's about exploiting how the human nervous system reacts to sudden movement. Offensive players learn to manipulate defenders' reflexes, forcing premature reactions through changes in speed, rhythm, and body positioning. When a defender's motor response lags behind the offensive read, contact becomes inevitable. Throughout the history of the NBA, players have greedily taken advantage of this. D. Wade using his athleticism, Manu Ginobili being quick-witted, James Harden launching a nuke into the NBA rulebook, and then we have SGA, the new king of foul baiters, the new leader of the pack. Foul baiting has a negative connotation. It's seen as something that slows down the game, as a cheap form of scoring, and is often used to discredit a player like SGA. It's a perfect hating tool too, because not only does it justify the hatred towards a player, but it also discredits said player's success. And for a guy like SGA, whose calling card is his scoring ability, it's a perfect way to knock him down a peg. Remember this, it's very important. Foul baiting allegations is an attack on both the player and the player's abilities. It's a special form of hate, but is it valid? Well, look at this. Ever since SGA averaged 30 points a game, he has never once led the league in free throw attempts per game. In fact, Giannis has led them by a wide margin for 4 consecutive seasons.
Oh, well, yeah, Giannis plays super physical. He earns the free throws, right?
Yeah, that's valid, I guess. You know, defenders are borderline assaulting Giannis. So yeah, maybe it is the playstyle that causes this. Well, until we look at Luka. Over the past 4 seasons, Luka Doncic has averaged more free throw attempts than SGA. He's averaging almost 3 more attempts this season and has multiple seasons where he shoots significantly more. And whatever flopping you think SGA does, Luka is worse. Low dribble pickup, screaming for contact, leaping to the defender. Any trick in the book that gets Luka to the free throw line, he uses. Whether or not you feel like this is ethical basketball is whatever. But it's very clear that the perception around these 2 prolific players are vastly different. I wonder why. SGA is being uniquely hated on, which is weird because he doesn't fall into the usual categories that NBA fans like to hate on. He isn't a big shot superstar that was prescribed greatness from day one, like LeBron. He isn't a hot shot, cocky superstar that has the ego of a walrus, and he hasn't dominated over entire franchises for decades like Brady. He's quite the opposite, actually. Quiet, humble, underdog story, and homegrown on the Celtics. And ironically enough, I think this perfectly crafted the hatred that is geared towards Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm gonna mention Luka one more time, because their dynamic perfectly encapsulates the psyche of NBA fans. Picked in the same draft class, from day one, Luka was poised as a franchise player. He burst onto the scene, won himself Rookie of the Year, was heavily marketed as the next future star, and was practically preordained as the future of the league. He was established as a transformative player. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not. He was picked later in the first round and spent his early years under the radar on an OKC Thunder team that were in the depths of hell. You don't get it. SGA was never meant to be this good. He was supposed to be a solid player stuck on the Thunder team picking in the lottery every season. His career was meant to die on Oklahoma City. The NBA didn't market him well enough, and that perception of SGA didn't build across the league. His slow rise to the top instead of the instant success comparative to Luka directly led to the disparity in their perceptions. Do you understand why yet? Okay, maybe this will do. Luka Doncic's playstyle, his circus passes, circus shots, exuberant personality, and unbelievable craftiness push him up higher. Watching the shot difficulty, shot creation, and magician ability that Luka possesses wows the fan and subconsciously affects the imagery of him as a player. Are you beginning to understand what I'm saying now? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Luka Doncic's yin to his yang. While the production is remarkable, there's none of the ridiculous shot making that Luka has, or the circus behind the head passes. SGA's quiet, dominant playstyle compared to Luka's in-your-face playstyle added to the specific narratives in each of the fans' minds, and is the exact reason for the hatred of SGA and his quote-unquote free throw antics. NBA fans don't respect SGA as an all-time great. The small market, lack of marketing, and quieter playstyle usually leads people to staying out of the spotlight, and the humble outlook that stops him from catching any hate at all. But no, not with SGA. While Luka is objectively a worse foul baiter than SGA, his establishment as the future of the NBA, his incredible highlights, and his now big marketability offsets the flopping narrative and overshadows anything that can arise from it. SGA, not so much. Shai is such a unique case of this, because while other forms of hate attack just the player, if you remember what I said earlier, foul baiting allegations attack the player and the player's abilities. Shai is statistically one of the best players in the NBA. He's one of the best scorers of this generation, and he's on the best team in the league. He has been dominant over the NBA, much like the Warriors were over the past few seasons. He has beaten your team and will beat them again. The resentment is there league-wide, for someone as dominant as him, which naturally garners hate. But he doesn't have any crazy or obvious or mind-boggling traits that naturally offset that hate. He's precise, textbook, and quiet, mixing a bit of foul baiting and the blend of his dominance, general fan resentment to said dominance, and the lack of pre-establishment as a star. It leads directly to his main characteristic as a basketball player being him quote-unquote flopping. At least it's that way to the general public. And the rise of social media has made things like this even worse. We are well into the implementation of social media into sports fandoms, and far past the point where narratives spread like the wind. Nicknames like PB No J, Pandemic P, and Westbrook proliferate daily. Narratives like SGA flopping is no different. Think of this. A Lakers fan watched SGA, he flops a little that game. Lakers fan tweets about him flopping. Suns fan reads the tweet, he internalizes the info, then watches OKC play the Suns 2 nights later. Shai flops a little bit again, he puts out a tweet and a clip attached to it. Even more fans view it, and you get it. The cycle goes on. The quality of Shai's play expedites this process. Because he is so great, he is featured in the media more and more, and the wildfire cycle grows rapidly. The humbleness, the climb from nothing, the small market usually wows the fans. But in the modern landscape of sports media, those attributes have subconsciously turned the perception of an NBA player negative. They don't respect SGA as an all-time great. Hey, you guys know Kobe, right? One of the greatest scorers this game has ever seen, defined by his relentless work ethic, obsession with detail, and unshakable belief in his own preparation. One of the most beloved NBA players of all time, a symbol of dedication, confidence, and demanding more from yourself. For many fans, Kobe isn't remembered just for what he did, but for the mentality he left behind. Remember when people hated him? Yeah. Some of you may be too young to know this, but Kobe the Mamba Bryant was despised league-wide across the NBA. His killer instinct that is beloved today was a cocky, arrogant persona. His ridiculous shot selection and unapologetic selfishness that was on full display to the NBA world also added to that. It didn't help that he beat you either, like a lot. After Kobe retired, he obtained legend status, and after his death, he was deemed a mythological feature. Ever since 2020, the NBA fan base has literally been looking for their next Kobe Bryant. I'm gonna give you a hint, SGA is that guy. Even if we look at it from the foul baiting perspective, James Harden was a pioneer of that stuff. It's like he pruned through the NBA rulebook and attacked any loophole there is for 2 shots at the free throw line. As a defender, I'd be on the verge of tears if I had to do anything related to defending James Harden. If you're under the age of 13 and don't know, just look at James Harden flopping compilations. Dude would reach for defenders' arms like they're a married couple, then feign a shot attempt for 2 free throws. He'd catapult his body into the defenders, and he'd heave the ball at the rim for some more free throws. Defenders literally tried guarding him backwards, and he'd still jump into them for, you guessed it, some free throws. This is widely considered the most unethical form of basketball to date, and nobody hates him for it while he's playing in the league today. This time period from James Harden is viewed as a comic stretch of basketball, where an uber-talented player and a generational scorer took advantage of some holes in the rulebook. What am I getting at here? Well, they don't respect SGA as an all-time great, but eventually they will. OKC fans, SGA fans, whatever, nostalgia bias is a strong thing. Not only does it wipe out any of the biases you had at the time, it creates new ones rooted in love. Despite Kobe being despised for most of his career, NBA fans love him and respect him as a legend. And despite James Harden being the most annoying player to guard in NBA history, fans view him as an all-time great scorer despite the incessant foul baiting. SGA's uber-talented scoring ability and unprecedented victories may hurt him now. They may build resentment among NBA fans, and it may incentivize them to spread more negative narratives about him, but eventually, greatness prevails. It always does. When you're not currently getting beat by him, the apprehension wears off and the respect grows. It's like a woman after pregnancy or childbirth. You know, like they bear the kid and they nearly rip their insides open and go through excruciating pain, but the human brain ends up numbing the full extent of that pain, so they end up thinking, that's not that bad, and they end up having another one. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna leave this one off. Bye.